Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Carly Chats with your host, Carly. Today's episode is going to be all about things travel, so if you're excited to listen, just sit back, relax, and maybe grab a notebook to jot down some of my recommendations. But with all that being said, let's just get right into it. This episode is sponsored by EF Travel. Looking to turn your travel dreams into real experiences? EF Travel makes it easy to explore the world with expertly planned trips, immersive cultural experiences, and built-in support every step of the way. Whether you're traveling solo or with a group, EF handles the details so you can focus on discovering new places, meeting new people, and making unforgettable memories. I've personally traveled with EF to explore Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, and my experience was incredible. So if you're looking to book a trip, I would 100% recommend using EF to get the most out of your experience. Thank you again to EF Travel for sponsoring today's episode. As I said, today's episode is all about travel. Traveling is one of my favorite things to do, and for me is a way of escaping my world and immersing myself in a new place, culture, and trying out new and delicious foods. It's also an excuse to have good quality time with friends and family, and being able to experience new places and unforgettable moments with the people I love makes traveling that much more meaningful to me. Now, before I bore you all with going on and on about how much I love traveling, let's get into what today's episode is really about. I'm now going to reminisce and give you guys recommendations and tips based on my trip to Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, which I hope you all find either entertaining or helpful. I'm going to start this recap off with Austria, which was my first stop on my 10-day trip to Europe. I traveled to 3 different cities in Austria, starting with Vienna, then Salzburg, and ending in the Tyrol region. Starting with Vienna, I explored the city itself, and I have to be honest with you all, I wasn't very impressed. It just felt like any other city, and besides the beautiful architecture, it just didn't really speak to me. While in Vienna, we also took a tour of the Schönbrunn Palace, where Marie Antoinette spent her childhood. This palace was beautiful and definitely my favorite part about Vienna. However, I would recommend doing a self-guided tour if you were going to go to this palace. Moving on to Salzburg, I loved this city. It was so cute and had so much cool architecture, and it also had so many cute shops. The city itself is between a mountain and a river. It is also known for being the city where they filmed The Sound of Music, so I would definitely recommend visiting. The last place I visited in Austria was the Tyrol region, where we stayed a night in the mountains. When I tell you in the mountains, I mean it. We were literally surrounded by mountains and away from all of society. It was just us and the cows, and it was truly beautiful. I stayed at the Hotel Olympia, and I would definitely recommend it for a night on your trip. Now that's all for Austria, but let's move on to Germany. Moving on to the next country I visited, Germany. I saw so much in Germany over the course of 3 days, and it was truly incredible. Starting in Munich, where I walked and explored the city, which has so much to offer, I got to have some good food and drinks, visited the Hofbrauhaus, which was once a roller brewery, and did some shopping. The same day I explored downtown Munich, I also went on a tour of the Dachau concentration camp. This was an unforgettable experience that brought lots of emotions, but I would 100% recommend visiting because it is honestly such an important learning experience and is a crazy environment to see in person. Moving on, also while in Munich, I got to go to the BMW showroom, which I would definitely recommend for anyone who likes cars. I also got to visit the Olympic Stadium, which held the 1972 Summer Olympics. There I got to visit the pool and jump off the high dive, which was 10 meters or 32 feet in the air. It was honestly so much fun and is open to the public, so if you visit, I would totally recommend going and definitely going off the high dive. Then the next thing I did in Germany was go to the Neuschwanstein Castle in Bavaria. The castle was located right in the mountains, and not only was the castle beautiful, but also the view. I would definitely make sure to go on the bridge to get the best view of the castle and get your Insta-worthy pic. Although if you do visit, I would definitely recommend taking the shuttle up instead of walking, but it's totally up to you if you're down for a hike. Then, finishing off Germany, I visited the town of Heidelberg, where I visited the Heidelberg Castle, walked around the city, and ate some yummy gelato. Alright, wrapping up this trip, the last country I'm going to talk about is Switzerland. My time in Switzerland was shorter than the other 2 countries, but it definitely did not disappoint. I visited the town of Lucerne, where I walked around the city, ate some good food, did some shopping, and then after all that, I took a boat to explore Lake Lucerne, which was absolutely beautiful. The water was so blue and so pretty, and definitely something you need to do. Then the boat took us to the Alps, where we rode a cogwheel railway to the top of Mount Pilatus, which gave you the best view, even though it did start downpouring on us. Also, if I'm going to be honest, Switzerland might have been my favorite country to visit. Now that I have explained each country in depth, I hope you have all gained some knowledge or interest and will add these places to your bucket list. I truly had the best time on this trip and would recommend visiting these countries, or really any countries. It is truly a life-changing experience that will stick with you forever. That is it for today's episode. Thank you all for listening, and if you are interested in my trip, you can go to my YouTube channel at carly.vlogs, where you will find an entire day-by-day vlog of this trip. But that's all for now, so stay tuned in for next week, and I'll see you next time.